Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day, wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to yet another Liverpool news episode for you guys this evening. And yes, it has been a very busy day in the Liverpool world of news, of course. As you can see by the thumbnail and the title, of course, we're going to be speaking about the Liverpool skipper in a brief moment. Well, of course, a bit later on in the show as well. But of course, we're going to also be discussing Mickey van der Ven. We're going to be discussing, of course, Liverpool ending their interest in the Wolfsburg defender. Of course, we'll be discussing that in tonight's episode. We'll also be speaking about Romeo Lavia as well. A little bit of more news coming out about him today. Of course, we'll also be discussing Levi Colwell as well. Of course, that rumor won't disappear anytime soon anyway. And of course, we will be speaking about the skipper, Jordan Henderson, considering moving to the Saudi League. Next, we're going to be talking about that in depth, of course, in tonight's show. Of course, will Steven Gerrard get the Liverpool captain? Of course, we will have to just wait and see, of course, over the next 24 to 48 hours. But of course, we'll be discussing everything to do with the transfer and any other bits of news that you guys have seen or if I have missed as well. Then please do let me know in the comment section down below as well, because again, I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Anyway, of course, but if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well, guys, and don't forget to hit that notification bell as well to remind yourselves when we go live or post a video. Anyway, but again, how are we all? Hopefully everyone is doing all good as well. Doug is in saying hello, Con. Hopefully doing well, Doug. John's in as well saying thoughts on is it Skurs move. I think, again, apologies if I butchered his name. I think he would be a good addition for our squad. Again, I haven't seen too much of him personally. I personally don't think Liverpool are going to go for him, especially when he's around that 40 million mark, I think, at the moment. But again, I could be wrong on that as well. But again, I haven't seen too much of him. I've watched him twice, I think, when he played at Ajax and he played against us in the Champions League. Looked pretty decent then, back 2-3 years ago. But yeah, I haven't seen too much on him, John. You will know more than me, mate. Anyway, but again, another centre back on the list for Liverpool anyway this summer, because of course there has been a load this summer in particular. But of course, we're going to kick off the show anyway, guys, and we are going to discuss Mickey van der Ven. Now, according to David Lynch, of course, writing a piece on This is Anfield, of course, as you can see right about now. There we go, saying that Liverpool drop interest in centre-back Mickey van der Ven. Of course, it does go on to say Liverpool have no plans to rival Tottenham for the signature of Wolfsburg defender Mickey van der Ven. The 22-year-old has previously been cited as a target for the Reds as they look to bolster their backline this summer. If we quickly scroll a bit down. So obviously David Lynch goes on to say as well. However, it is Spurs who have emerged as as his likeliest suitors, with talks over a deal reportedly progressing in the recent days. And This is Anfield understands that the London club will face no opposition from Liverpool in their bid to sign the Dutchman. No firm move for Van der Ven has ever been planned in this window, with the Reds focus on other players as they consider their defensive options. But with Wolfsburg's man now ruled out, the list of known targets in that area is dwelling. Sorry, again, of course, as the Sporting's Gonzalo Inacio has also been suggested as a potential signing capable of playing on the left-hand side of Liverpool's new defensive shape. And of course, if you guys want to go and read that article piece by David Lynch on This is Anfield, of course, but more importantly, Mickey van der Ven. I think, look, Liverpool, in my opinion, I think, I think that wants to pop back up. I think Mickey van der Ven, I think Liverpool are looking at that next caliber up. I think. I don't know whether or not if, of course, I think obviously there was a conversation, I think, last week between York's, I think, Smector, as I pronounce his name, and Jurgen Klopp, obviously, getting targets down. Obviously, we've seen with the midfield in particular how, of course, the amount of midfielders that was rumoured and suggested for Liverpool over the last 2-3 months, in particular. I think it's been the same now with centre halves, but it is a little bit now the case of, do we have a Fabinho type style, or a Szoboszlai type signing as the left-sided centre half? Of course, obviously we'll discuss Levi Colwill in a brief moment, but I think at the present moment in time, there isn't that many left-sided centre halves that are, linked or even rumoured towards Liverpool, which I think is a bit concerning. But again, look, I don't think anyone knew anything about Szoboszlai. At the time, of course, we know that Jorg has been, looking at the Bundesliga market. There might be a Bundesliga centre half that in the market that might, surprise Liverpool and might actually, get them to do a bit of business. But I do think overall, I think it's the right decision not to go with Mickey van der Ven. I think it would have been around, I think, £40 million, or at least 40 million euros, which is like £34 million. I think. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts. I do think Liverpool are very much looking at the bracket above for that left-sided centre half. Of course, maybe we might be going for a quote elite centre half if that's how we want to put it as well. But again, I think it does, whether or not, depending, and very much depends on now, of course, what sales can be generated from the squad. I think at the moment, maybe you can still, maybe a Joel Matip or a Joe Gomez might leave the club this summer. Who knows in this transfer window? But again, of course, that's speculation at this time at the moment. Again, so again, let me know your guys' thoughts. That because David Lynch has now reported that Mickey van der Ven is no longer a target for Liverpool. I think we all knew that anyway. But of course, he wrote an article piece on This Is Anfield today anyway for you guys. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Mickey van der Ven anyway. And of course, just let me know how all of you are in the chat as well. There are many people in the chat tonight anyway. But again, let me know how all of you are. But Ferguson saying the fan base turning on Hendo because he wants to stay is disgraceful. After everything he's given the club, giving him one more season is no crime. Good bench player, to have in the squad as well. But, yeah, I would agree. Obviously, we'll get on to speak about Jordan Henderson in a brief moment. Well, a bit later on, anyway. But Hendo last season was shocking. I would agree, but then I think everyone else was shocking as well. I think Thiago in that bracket. You could put Fabinho, Virgil. Is there anyone else I'm forgetting? Everyone apart from Ali and Mo. Maybe Darwin as well in that bracket. But yeah, no, he was shocking last season. Evening. What's our new shape? 5-2-3. Yeah, it's a variation of it. I think it's more. You can put it 4-2-2-3, where obviously the two twos are in a box, so that's how it goes. But again, I might be wrong in that way, but yeah, it's a 3-2-2-3 is how Liverpool will shape up next season, I think. Anyway, but not just bad, shocking as well. Says Felix, Phoenix. Sorry, not Felix. So it was a lot of our players, to be fair. Yeah, that is true. Absolutely 100%. Talia Albin, one would sell Thiago, Connor. I would agree. If we need somebody to be let go in the midfield, Thiago would be the one for me. Again, I love Thiago Alcantara. I think when he is available, he is probably on paper Liverpool's best midfielder. But it's that, again, the reliability issues of, he's not fit enough to be in Liverpool's midfield. And if Liverpool can get a midfielder in the door, or maybe even two, where Thiago is let go, then maybe still there might be an option there. I think even there was a rumour, I think about an hour ago, about Barcelona looking at Thiago if the price was right, which again, how much would you sell Thiago for? I think obviously if it is Qatari bids, I think people have even suggested like 25 million. I think that it would be something around that. I think either way, I think Liverpool can get 10 million plus for Thiago. I think that would be a massive bonus. Personally anyway. But again, I want to know your guys' thoughts on it as well. Wig says Thiago this summer, Hendo next summer. Thiago frees up a big wage, 1 year left on his contract, and frees up a spot on another foreign player. Yeah, no, that's true, 100%. I think also as well, if Liverpool was to do that, I think again it gives you the options then of going for. We all know Liverpool wanted the M. I think that's no shocker. They did anyway, but I think it then allows you to go outside of homegrown in that particular thing. Like for me, I think look, Liverpool, if Liverpool are not set on Lavia, I think I've said it to you guys. I think Florentino Luis. I think he's definitely one guy in particular that Liverpool should be looking at. Again, you look at interceptions, you look at his defensive work rate. I think the Portuguese league is again one of the best leagues out there in terms of finding talent and getting talent to the Premier League and this, that, and the other. Of course, obviously with Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz. Obviously, I said to you guys earlier on in this window, I think Manuel Ugarte would have been perfect in Liverpool's new system. But again, obviously now he's gone to PSG. And there was a release clause there, but again, I think it was around 52 million, I think it was at the time. But again, if there is an option there, I think Benfica are looking like around 30, 40 million for Florentino Luis. I would absolutely pay it. I think he's brilliant. Connor Starwin got the number 9 shirt yet? No, I don't think, Gary. I don't think he's got it yet. It's a bit concerning they haven't announced it yet. I'm not going to lie, but maybe they might. I think around, was it first preseason games next week? Maybe in a couple of days they might do it. Who knows? But again, it'll be interesting whether or not if Liverpool just go, no, we're not going to do it this summer. We're going to do it next summer instead. But again, just do it. Give Darwin the number 9 shirt anyway. But we will move on, chat, anyway. And of course, we're going to discuss now, anyway, of course, Romeo Lavia. Of course, we're talking about him right now in terms of Liverpool needing defensive cover in the midfield. But Paul Joyce, of course, coming out, linked him a little bit with the Jordan Henderson story as well, saying that, again, Jurgen Klopp has also been checking on another midfielder in Southampton's Romeo Lavia. Chris Bascom as well, also putting a report out as well, obviously with the Jordan Henderson situation as well, saying that Klopp would ideally add another midfielder to his ranks. Southampton's Romeo Lavia, but his 50 million valuation is too high, and there would need to be further outgoings this summer. Of course, it is illogical from a practical and financial perspective for Klopp to retain 9 midfielders in his squad, especially as Trent Alexander-Arnold is now occupying a hybrid role, which, again, for me, I think, look, it does look like it's going to be 50 million now for Lavia. I think I don't know where I got it from, but I think, was it Chris from Redmen was talking about it earlier on? Must have been on a Redmen show, and he was talking about the financials and how it works with Lavia. And I think even if Southampton got 50 million, the 50 million price tag was asked upon, I think Southampton, with the way it works out, or I think a financial expert was going on about it, Southampton would get, I think, 36 million from the 50 mil, which, when you look at it on that scale, again, it's probably a good reason why they're asking for 50 mil. But I also think that, again, he's nowhere near a 50 million pound player, and I think they would have to realise it. But again, and they've done it again. Southampton, of course, I think they've signed. I don't know who they've signed, but they've signed another Manchester City academy player, which I think they've got a sell-on clause and a buyback clause in it as well. Where I just look at it and I'm like, for me personally, it's like Southampton have put themselves in this bracket because, again, Liverpool could leave it this summer. I think there's other targets out there where Liverpool could go and go after another midfielder in a 6 role. I think there are players out there, but Southampton have the real issue and the real problem of, I think they're being, again, I think they have a real issue in terms of if nobody comes in for him this summer and City don't come in for him next summer again, who's to say that, again, that £50 million or the £40 million is gone? Then, no club is going to be, demand or even looking around that. Anyway, and again, who's to say in 2 years' time that Lavia is impressed that well? Again, on the stats and the statistics, there's some stats out there where Lavia looks awful at the eye test. I think everyone looks in and goes, yeah, he's absolutely, again, on the eye test, he looks good, but in terms of statistics and what Liverpool need, he does lack a little bit. But then again, and also saying that, again, he's a 19-year-old kid that will, under Klopp's guidance, will become even better, of course. But for me, I think it's very much if you can't get it less than 50 million, then don't do it. I think for Liverpool, I think there are better options out there. Again, Florentino Luis, if you go 50 million for either player, I'd rather go 50 million for Florentino Luis, personally. But again, that's just my thoughts. Anyway, but again, let us know your guys' thoughts in the chat anyway, down below. Where are we by? Guys saying for me, there are better sixes than Lavia, Connor, as well. I'd like Lavia, but not for 50 million. That's my honest opinion on it as well. Hello, Luke. Hopefully you're doing well, mate. As well, obviously, I know you were at the Formula One this past weekend as well. Obviously, hopefully that was all good, my friend. Liverpool could get two midfielders for 80 million, Connor. True. Problem is who in that bracket? I think even when you did look at Kefran Turam, for example, like Turam's going to cost 40 mil. You're looking at another 40 mil for a player. Yeah, and plus could Liverpool do it? I think we are. I think Liverpool will probably sign a centre half before they sign another midfielder this summer. But we all talked about Liverpool getting the business done early, and Liverpool would be, at the start of the season, Liverpool would be done. It might be the case now where Liverpool might enter, into a couple of weeks into the season where we still haven't got a centre half, or we still haven't got another midfielder in that bracket as well. So again, it's, for me, I think Liverpool have to be smart, and I think that's what Liverpool are being at the moment. We're being very vigilant in what's in the transfer market, because again, you're seeing stupid deals week in, week out at the minute, where this player's overpriced or this player's going for under the price, and it's a bit weird how he's under the price. But a lot of players this summer have gone for way over their valuation. But I think, again, Liverpool are being smart with it, personally. But Wig says 50 makes sense for Southampton. They would owe 20% to City, or they sell back to City next season for 40 mil. Would City pay 40 million, though? He may have a shocker of a season coming up. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. But then, as well, Wigs, with that, then it's other teams then as well. It's like no other team then are going to go, oh yeah, I'll pay 40 million for him, or even 30. Again, people are not going to do that. Like, Lavia should be, if he has the successful season, what he should do anyway. Who's to say that he should be the best DM in the Championship next season if he stayed there? And there's nothing to suggest that he's going to stay there. But it's that factor, isn't it? Where if he plays in the Championship, doesn't have a good year, again, Southampton are not gonna look like that fact. Of course, City might go, oh well, we want to pay a bit less than the buyback. I don't know whether or not if they can do that either. But again, yeah, it's one of those ones where it's a very complex situation to be in. Again, Southampton have absolutely done themselves in, realistically, in terms of what they could or couldn't do. But again, just don't put in a buyback clause so high. That's the only thing. I think if it was like 5% or 10%, you'd be fine. But 20%, as as Wig said there, which is most likely what is in the contract, is ridiculous. But yeah, that's Southampton for you. Connor, what's the rumours today, lad? Been slacking in the chat last couple of days, lad. Well, like I said, obviously Mickey van der Ven, and obviously Lavia. Um, obviously, look, you should know anyway what all the rumours are anyway. Of course, stay tuned anyway for the show. And of course, we'll go through them anyway. Of course, we've spoken about Lavia, we've spoken about Van der Ven, haven't we, chat? Again, we've got two more stories coming up as well about Colwell and of course Jordan Henderson as the main one anyway. But he could be a flash in the pan player. Yeah, absolutely, could be. Again, that's the thing. Like last summer was his first full summer, or first full season, sorry, and in the Premier League as well. Again, he did decent in a in a crap Southampton side, but it's that thing again where it's like I said, if he goes into the Championship and doesn't perform good, then that's a bit of a bad one, isn't it? But Silverstone was mental, mate. Drinking from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Lol. Went across the gravel at 10 a.m. Oh, bloody hell. Sounds good though. To be fair, but if Liverpool can negotiate a deal for around 35 to 40 million up front and the rest in add-ons for Lavia, that potentially could work. Yeah, it could work. Again, that most likely is probably going to be the likeliest thing. It's probably 35 million and then the rest in add-ons, like again Champions League and Premier League titles and so on. As well, they could do that. Of course, and we should have a good working relationship with Southampton. But then also saying that the last transfer that we did was Taki Minamino, was it, on loan? And then when they wanted to buy him, we were like, nope, we don't want to sell him. But then again, they didn't play him that well. I think they only played him, was it like 9 times? I think when he was on loan, and that was off the bench. But yeah, I think obviously the last signing anyway that we got from Southampton was Virgil van Dijk back in the day. So not a bad player, mind. I'm not going to say that, of course, but yeah, I think it is very much. Maybe there might be a bit of damage there, of course, with what happened with Virgil. But still, I should think we've got a good working relationship with Southampton. But again, you never know. But what else we have? Wig saying the fact that we'd be giving City money for nothing makes it even worse. Yeah, absolutely, Wigs. Mate, I'm busy doing 12-hour shifts at the moment, mate. Can barely watch many streams. I'm dropping likes and trying to catch what I can. Look, you need to when you go to bed, you just need to just put one of us in your ears and just listen to the news. That's what you need to do. You might fall asleep, mind, but yeah, might help. Anyway, but we will move on. Anyway, chat. Of course, we're going to discuss. If I can quickly find this photo. Yeah, we're going to discuss Levi Colwell. Now, of course, obviously Chelsea's sent it off, which, again, if Yusuf's watching, then, of course, he is Chelsea sent it off for now. Anyway, of course. But Fabrizio Romano did come out today saying that whilst Chelsea maintain that Levi Colwell is considered untouchable and the future, the conversations between him and Pochettino are crucial to move forward with his next steps. Liverpool really like the player, but are currently not negotiating due to the above reasons. Now, the reason why this is big news is because, again, the talk between him and Pochettino. Now, Liverpool, as you know, as you can see by this comment by Neil Jones, paying big for Levi Colwell wouldn't be an issue for Liverpool. Now we know Liverpool, if it's the correct player and it's the correct fit, what Liverpool want and what Liverpool needs, we will spend big. Look at Alisson, look at Virgil van Dijk, obviously Dominic Szoboszlai as well. When Liverpool think that he's the guy, we will easily go out and splash the cash. Now, am I saying that Liverpool are going to go and splash 80 million quid on Levi Colwell? No, I'm not. But what I think is crucial is that conversation with Pochettino. Now, Pochettino will probably promise him, the heaven and earth in terms of playing time, in terms of everything that sounds right with Levi Colwell. I think that the big issue for Liverpool is the contract to begin with. I think listening to a Chelsea podcast, I think today, in terms of what they were speaking about it, and they said that he's got a 2-year contract left, and they think that he has a option for a third year as well if he agrees to it. So that does a little bit put a downer on it a little bit, but again, you have to wonder what would Chelsea value him at. I think 80 million has got spoken about. I think Fabrizio Romano said you are looking around probably 80 to 100 million for him. Of course, we know Liverpool are not going to spend 100 million on a centre half, but it's I think if there's any hope of a deal that could get done between 60 to 70 million, we know Liverpool could possibly do it. Whether or not, of course, I think the big thing with Levi Colwill is his question with the squads at the present moment in time. I think at the moment, of course, I think he'd slot in that left-sided centre back position. Of course, taking out Andy Robertson in that regard, but then that's not necessarily saying that, of course, Robbo doesn't have a place in the team, because you need a left back in your team. Where, of course, if we're playing the 3-2-2-3, of course, Colwell will probably play on the left hand side along with Virgil and Ibu Kanate. When we're playing 4-3-3, again, Colwell might play left sided centre half, might give Virgil van Dijk a breather in that regard. Because, of course, I think that's what Liverpool's ideal situation will be, is resting Virgil van Dijk as much as possible. We've seen him play ridiculous amount of football over the last 2 years since coming back from that knee injury. I think Liverpool want to try and maintain Virgil van Dijk, where you can rest him here and there, maybe in Europa League game or even the odd Premier League game potentially as well next season. But again, I think for this summer, I think it's impossible to get him out of Chelsea for Levi Colwill. Let me know your guys' thoughts as well. But for me, I think he is untouchable this summer, because again, I think Chelsea will just, even if Liverpool, I think, bid 80 million, I think Chelsea will go, no, we want 100. I think that's the unfortunate way Chelsea operate. Like, look at Mason Mount. Should Mason Mount be going for £60 million? Absolutely not. With 1 year left on his contract, should never be anywhere near that price. But Manchester United were willing to pay it. Chelsea got their way and they ended up paying it. Which, again, for me, I don't think it should have been that high. But again, everything that Chelsea have asked for this summer, they've got. Of course, there's been no team going, no, we're not going to pay that, or no, we're not going to do that. Every single thing for Chelsea, like how they've wanted it to go in terms of departures with the team, with their players, has gone the way they want it. They've got their fee. They've got, again, I think, even look at Pulisic, for example. They got 22 million for Pulisic. That's ridiculous. Like, that's outrageous how they got 22 million pounds for Pulisic. Like, that's outrageous. And I just think, look, Liverpool will definitely, I think, still be interested. I think even if we don't get him in, this summer, I think obviously the next 6 to 12 months, of course, if he doesn't get the playing time that he wants at Chelsea, I think he'll definitely be gone next summer. But yeah, I think Liverpool could even wait. But of course, they could even say to him, just stay there, hand in your transfer request, and then next summer we'll come and get you. That might be something there as well. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat down below anyway. But we are going to move straight into the Jordan Henderson story now, of course. I know you guys will be all intrigued. Of course, I know Luke will be as well. Of course, obviously, guys, we do have a poll in the chat as well. Obviously, you guys should have seen it by now anyway. But of course, we do have a poll in the chat. Of course, should Liverpool sell Jordan Henderson this summer? Of course. But yeah, we are going to move on, and we are going to talk about Jordan Henderson, of course, the skipper. Now, Chris Bascom obviously made this. I slapped my leg there. Apologies, chat. Obviously. Wrote this article piece saying Jordan Henderson considering leaving Liverpool for Saudi Arabia. Of course, he added in that article piece as well, saying at 33, Henderson will be weighing up the intimidating benefits of lucrative deal in the Saudi League, where he could join former teammate Roberto Firmino and a host of other big names against the wrench of walking out, of Liverpool right now. Henderson still has 2 years left on his Liverpool contract, but the landscape is evolving with manager Jurgen Klopp rebooting his midfield with more options to choose from heading into the new season. Of course, that's from Chris Bascom there. Of course, Paul Joyce as well added to this, saying Jordan Henderson has not been the subject of a formal bid as of yet. It is unlikely one would be made unless he was to indicate he was willing to leave Liverpool. The countering the court sorry, of Henderson is entering decisions a few days, of course, decisions few days. And of course, I believe Paul Joyce also adding to this as well, saying that Jordan Henderson is continuing to attract attention, from Saudi Arabia, including Steven Gerrard's Al Hatafe. Again, apologies if I butcher any names here. As interest in the Liverpool captain intensifies, of course, and something that Chris Wheeler as well also tweeted out, saying that Jordan Henderson is set to make a decision on his future within the next 48 hours, with El Atafe offering him a 50% pay rise, which I think is around, I think it's about 240. I think he'd be on a week. If it is a 50% pay increase, I think he's on 160. Is he now 160, 180? I think he is. So again, actually, no, 240 would be a lot more than that. But even look at it, of course, it'd be a very lucrative contract in that region for Jordan Henderson, of course. But obviously, I think about 2-3 hours ago now as well, Ben Jacobs as well also tweeting out, saying exclusive: Jordan Henderson will not join Steven Gerrard's at Al Atafe. Understand Henderson is focused on Liverpool despite the interest and feels staying at Anfield is also the best for his Euro 24 chances. Now, that for me is a big one. Personally, I think, look, Jordan Henderson will want to be playing for England at the Euros. Look, you look at the previous World Cup, he was in that England midfield alongside Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice. I think, realistically, I think Jordan Henderson probably even right now probably gets into that England midfield. I know that people will go, oh, well, Mason Mount can play there, and it'll be Mount, Bellingham, and Declan Rice, and they might be right, but I think obviously Jordan Henderson, he's a big, a big key factor in that England team. Not only the England team, and Liverpool's team. Again, I think we spoke about it yesterday or the day before, chat, didn't we? In terms of, you look at Jordan Henderson and you look at the qualities he brings. Of course, obviously people go, oh, he brings qualities, on off the field, and that is true. He does. He's the leader in the team. Of course, look, Liverpool don't have just one leader, though. Of course, we have many, but he is the vocal point for this Liverpool side. And I think the big question for Jordan Henderson is, what does he want? I think we're all under the same impression that Jordan Henderson would very much, be looking at a bench role for Liverpool next season. Whether or not if Jordan Henderson is comfortable with that, again, we've said, and Jordan Henderson himself has said it over plenty of. I think said it last season. I think he even said it the year before that he doesn't see himself not being a starter for Liverpool, and I think that's of course, obviously it's good mentality to have that factor, but I think obviously from Jurgen Klopp's perspective, I think obviously with Dominic Szoboszlai and of course Alexis McAllister coming in, not even that, I think obviously Harvey Elliott having a decent under 21 tournament, obviously Curtis Jones having a absolute stunning tournament in that regard. Of course, them two, maybe even pushing ahead of Jordan Henderson, maybe Harvey Elliott. I think there's question marks there. A little bit, but I do think if Liverpool were to sell Jordan Henderson, I think it would be a mistake, personally. At least for this summer, I think it'd be a mistake. Certainly with Liverpool not having much cover on the right-hand side of midfield, and just the leadership side of things. I think Jordan Henderson has a lot more to offer with this Liverpool team. I don't think it's, dead and buried in the water, if that's the saying. Anyway, but I just do think that Liverpool and Jordan Henderson, I don't think the story ends yet. Personally, do I think that, of course, is there interest there? Sure. I think everyone, obviously, Steven Gerrard, might go, oh, I want Jordan Henderson in my team, offer Liverpool 30, 40 million. Because I think that is then the big question of course, if they do bid for Jordan Henderson, how much do Liverpool value Jordan Henderson at? Again, I don't want to say how much I personally think that he's worth. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts. But I just think that it is very much the sense of Liverpool. Liverpool would be left in a very difficult position if he was to let Jordan Henderson go. And I think when we talk about, and everyone's talking about, again, we need to let a player go to bring one in. And again, Lavia is completely different to what Jordan Henderson brings. If we were going to, again, lose Jordan Henderson, you'd have to look at maybe a Turan potentially coming back in. Of course, that conversation with him going in that regard. But again, I'm for me personally, I think Liverpool would be done to sell Jordan Henderson this summer anyway. Of course, and as as you guys can see there in terms of Ben Jacobs as well, him saying anyway that of course Jordan Henderson will not be joining Steven Gerrard at Al Atafe anyway, of course. But again, obviously, it would be nice if Paul Joyce comes out and says this as well. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from Ben Jacobs personally, but again, I'm not particularly sure. And until a Joyce or an Ornstein comes out and says that Jordan Henderson's not going anywhere, then I'd be happy. Or even Hendo himself comes out and says that, again, he's not going anywhere. I think, look, for me, personally, I think, look, Liverpool, I'd be happy with letting go of Thiago this summer, and I would. You can bring in anywhere from 10 to 20 million for Thiago. You free up 200k a week in terms of wages. You can possibly get two players for the wage. But of course, again, it is that case of, again, Liverpool will just have to have to weigh up the eggs realistically and then just see where they are. But in terms of Jordan Henderson, I think he's not going to go anywhere. That's just my personal view on it anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts anyway in the chat. Hello, Luke, as well, says Doug. And can't afford to lose both Millie and Hendo in the same window. Yep, I absolutely agree. I think that's the thing, though, Doug, as well, though, and it's the fact that it would be catastrophic if Liverpool lost both Jordan Henderson. And look, again, Twitter knobheads will go, but Jordan Henderson, this, that, and the other. It's like, shut up. Like, generally, like, people just don't understand football in that way. And again, look, do I think in a year's time should Liverpool look to sell Jordan Henderson? Maybe, possibly, yes, within next season. But for this current season, I don't think so. I think he still has a lot to offer. Again, people go, oh, he might start the season. He might actually start the season. That's the thing. Like, again, out of the two of Szoboszlai and McAllister, I think McAllister is most likely to start the season. Like, game week 1, straight in the door, straight on the left hand side. That I do see that. But then again, if you look at the I call it the belief test, but the lactose test yesterday, Dominic Szoboszlai absolutely outrun everyone. Like, Jesus Christ, even Trent was like, he was gobsmacked of how well he did. And I think it's quite clear to go, if he just settles in nicely, again, he will be on the right hand side. But I think, again, Jordan Henderson will have important games this season for Liverpool, where Liverpool need, look at the last 10, 15 minutes of a game, 20 minutes of a game where you need to bring someone on, maybe, or even, a big game where you need to have that solid midfielder there. Henderson might be that as well. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway in the comments down below as well. Anyway, of course, Gary saying Talia, Luke, and Doug as well in the comments anyway. But let's have a look what the poll's saying as well, guys, before we do head off for the night. Anyway, of course. So yeah, the poll had 17 votes. 70% says no. 29% said, or I don't know why that's 29%. That should be 30%, but nevertheless, anyway. Of course, 70% says no to selling Jordan Henderson this summer. I would agree. I think, look, Jordan Henderson should be staying at Liverpool next summer. Absolutely 100%. Anyway, guys, but I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Anyway, of course, big thank you to all of you for popping in as well, and obviously liking the stream as well. I'm going to quickly check what we're on. Where are we on? We're on 17 likes, guys. So again, if we can get to 20, very much appreciated as always. Anyway, but obviously I will see you all guys tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Might be a different video tomorrow. Actually, what day is it? It's Thursday tomorrow. Actually, Friday will be a different video. Tomorrow might be a news episode. Again, or the different episode might be on tomorrow. Anyway, again, we're gonna. There will be a video either tomorrow or on Friday of how Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai work in the midfield. Of course, we're going to be looking at that a bit more in depth, I think, a little bit anyway. But again, stay tuned. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, guys, hit the notification bell as well to remind yourselves when we go live or post a video as well. Again, very much appreciated for all the support on the channel as well. And yeah, hopefully I'll see all you guys tomorrow. Anyway, but until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Cup Council. See you all later on. Ta-ra.